Let's take a look at the Edit menu in line balancing. The first selection is Find. This can also be pulled up by clicking on the Binoculars button in the toolbar. When you click on Find, you can search for activities within your scenario, and you can search by the different criteria that is listed here. If I want to find a task with a description that includes bracket in the name, I would enter a %sign bracket and click Find. This is going to show me all of the activities with bracket in their description. If I wanted to search for something with screw in the description, there's a lot of activities in my scenario that come up when I search for that. And each one is showing me the time and the operator assignment as well as the station assignment, so I know where I can go find those. Next is the scenario details. And if you remember, this is the first screen when you're setting up the scenario in the wizard. The only things that you can change in the edit scenario details is the multi-sided to single-sided. This is whether or not you want to consider work zones in the scenario. And you can also change your target date, which is going to affect the activities that are brought into the scenario. In the routing and model details screen, you can't change the routing. If you wanted to use a different routing, you would have to create a new scenario. But you can adjust the model option percentages that you defined when you created the scenario. In the task details, you can choose to change the time unit or to include or exclude certain activities. In the station details, you can add stations, you can remove stations, and you can adjust the operator counts for each station. This is defining how many operators are assigned to work in that station. And you can also adjust the setup time for the station. Refresh scenario data will look back to the routing and pull in the new activity data into the scenario. So remember that when you create a scenario, you're taking a snapshot of the routing and creating that scenario file that's separate from the routing. But when you refresh the scenario, it will pull in new activities that have been added to the routing. If activities have been deleted, they'll be deleted from the scenario. If you've edited things like activity work zones, activity times, activity group IDs, things like that, then that new information will be brought into the scenario. And you don't have to create a brand new scenario to get that updated information. Monumental Resources is where you can specify which resources are actually monuments and which you want to follow using the monumental constraint. There is another video for this for more information about these monumental resources. Task grouping is where you can adjust the task groups that are defined. This will show you any groups that are already defined. So you see that in Station 1, I have a group of 2 tasks. In Station 2, I have a group of 2 tasks, etc. You also see the ungrouped tasks. So if you want to create a new group within the scenario, then you can select 2 groups, click Add Group, and then you can add those to an existing group, or you can create a new group. And when you create a group in the scenario, you can define whether it's assigned to a single operator or just to a station. So if you check the Assign Group to a Single Operator box, then the tasks in that group will be forced to be assigned to one operator. If you don't check that box, it'll make sure that the tasks in the group are assigned to the same station, but not necessarily to the same operator within that station. If you want to edit an existing group, you can right-click and change the group, so move tasks into a different group. Or if you select the gray header of the group, you can delete the group, moving the tasks in the group to the ungrouped task list, or you can edit the group. And this is where you can change the name, or you can define whether it's a station group or an operator group. In the takt time, this can set the takt time line in the chart. So right now my takt time line is set to 0. If I change it to 3.7, then my graph will adjust. In the operator details screen, you can change the operator ID of each operator in each station. And you can also define shared operator IDs. And we recommend that if you want to use shared operator IDs, that you do speak to a Proplanner representative before doing so. The last item is the order details. If you had enabled the schedule-driven balance when you created the scenario and brought orders into the scenario, then you can change which orders are included. You can bring in orders from a different date or date range. You can include or exclude these orders, and the scenario will be affected when you make those changes.